All right, for today's video review, we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Power of the Primes Legends Class Beachcomber. A very cool little figure here. I like this guy a lot. I mean, there is a reason that the more recent deluxe one was basically just like an upscaled version of this with extra bells and whistles because he pretty much just got the job done in one. He's a great little figure. He has a nice looking little dune buggy mode here. It rolls pretty nicely. It's a little bit more like angular than the G1 version, but still works pretty well. Now, he doesn't come with any weapons or anything like that. He does have a port back here, which I guess is just meant to be like a flight stand in robot mode. But being a Power of the Primes Legends class figure, he has the same gimmick that both the Power of the Primes and the Titans Returns guys had, where you can take a Prime or Titan Master because they're pretty much the same. Just some of them have a face and some of them have a weird techie panel, and you can have them actually ride in the alt mode here. And for the case of Beachcomber, you pretty much just open up the roll cage there, and you can take your Titan Master there and put him into place. And that actually works pretty well because he's the one like season 2 minibot that actually works being like a at the scale that he is, because dune buggies tend to be pretty small. So that scales pretty nicely there, instead of things like sea spray where it's like, oh, you put them in the back and then way at the front there's like these tiny little windows which obviously don't line up with there being like a single person sitting in the back. But that works pretty well. I feel like they didn't really have to do a whole lot to integrate that into this figure, because this just ends up being a hollow section of the torso anyway. So works pretty well. In terms of comparisons in this mode, just for the standard one, here he is with Kingdom Sideswipe. So you can see like dune buggies definitely vary in size, but it actually works pretty well. He's like I said, the season 2 minibots mostly turn into kind of like weird gigantic vehicles that wouldn't be small, but Beachcomber actually does turn into a vehicle that reasonably works at this size, and that looks pretty good. And then here he is with our more recent updated version of Beachcomber there. And I like this figure better overall, but I think in terms of overall cohesiveness, I feel like the dune buggy mode on the Titans Return, or the Power of the Primes one, looks a little bit more convincing, but they're both good. To get onto transformation, he's very simple, and if you're familiar with this guy, then you know how this guy works pretty much. It's just a slightly more simplified version of that. Basically, you just want to untab the roll cage here, unfold the legs at the knees, and then bring the roll cage back to be the heels there, and then split the legs. Take the arms, they will unclip from the side here, and then take this whole section and slide it down like that to reveal the head, and then take the last little section of the roll cage and just kind of fold it onto his back there. And there we have Beachcomber in his robot mode. And he looks great. I like this guy a lot. Definitely, we'll get into this when we get into comparisons, but proportionately, he's a little bit chubby in the torso. But still, no, I don't think I would have ever had that issue if I weren't directly comparing it to the new deluxe version. But looks great. In terms of articulation, his head is on a swivel there, so it can rotate around like that. Shoulders are on ball joints, which can rotate around and go out to the side. Elbows are on ball joints, which gives him a bicep swivel and about 90 degrees of bend there. I like how they actually painted in the hands there, because obviously they're just part of the same piece there. And technically Beachcomber's hands are supposed to be blue, but I just feel like, it just helps them pop out a little bit more, so you can actually see that there's detail there. Nothing at the waist. Hips are on ball joints, which can go forward and back only about that far, unless you move that section of the roll cage out of the way, and even then not really a whole lot further. And out to the side, he's got a thigh swivel there, a very deep knee bend just because of how it folds up for transformation, so that's nice. And then no posability at the feet. He, again, like a lot of figures of this era, just kind of has that sculpted A stance there, so he can look kind of casual when standing there without being totally stock up and down straight. So I feel like that works pretty well. In terms of comparisons in this mode, here he is again with Sideswipe and also with Rat Trap, both from Kingdom, just so you can see what he looks like with an average size deluxe and an average size core class. And then here's also the Titan Master again. Here he is again with the Legacy version, which I think, again, I like this guy a lot better. I think the proportions are a little bit nicer. I like the blue that they used a little bit better, but he really is based on the design skeleton of this guy. But he gets away with having a leaner torso just because he doesn't have to accommodate that whole Titan Master gimmick where there has to be a figure sitting in there. So as a result, his torso is a little bit less chubby compared to the rest of his body. But like I said, I don't know if I ever would have noticed that about him if I weren't directly comparing him to this guy. But yeah, no, I think that they're both really fun little figures. And this guy still has a nice place in my collection, even if I have kind of replaced him with this guy on my definitive, Transformers shelf. But they're both really cool little figures. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to him. He's a fun little guy. Really, not a whole lot of complaints about him. Like I like the new one better, but it's also a deluxe compared to a Legends class. So just as a fun little like tiny version of Beachcomber, I feel like this guy works pretty well. But yeah, if you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. I do reviews every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And without further ado, here we have Transformers Power of the Primes Legends Class Beachcomber.